but you kind of deny it happened.
I deny some of the parts of it.
You deny parts of it don't seem realistic to you. You think they were embellished upon.
I think they're embellished, yeah.
The same way. This sounds, oh gosh.
Oh boy.
They're gonna get trouble. This sounds similar to the slavery stuff too, because that's literally the founder of, or the guy who made Roots said, I wanted a myth for my people to live by.
For the victory lap though. Whoa, they ain't never seen nothing like this before. Lit the room when I came through the front door. Ask me if I stress overcome, what for? Train in the trees, please pardon my sycamore. Touch burning sands, cross lands and stormy shore seasons in the year, yeah. Ain't no channel for champions and chain no fear. Yup, the champ is here, switch gears. We keeping haters in the rear.
All right, what up, y'all? It's Common Sense back in for another reaction video. You already know it's your boy Anime Swag Fitness, Shop P90, Big Guy Fashion on Instagram.
Yo, see Julius Workout. Check me out on Instagram and YouTube. Don't forget, comment, like, and subscribe to this on this video. And thanks for supporting us. And let's get into the video.
You know what I'm saying? I'm going to give them a little bit of a spiel on what we about to watch today.
Yeah, I'll do an introduction. So this video is going to be a reaction to so basically, I think within the last week, definitely last couple of days, Just Pearly Things, if you know her, she's a big YouTube content creator. Well, just content creator in general. I'd say in the manosphere, and then I would say in the
Red Pill community.
In the Red Pill Black Manosphere community as well. And she interviewed Nick Fuentes. If you know who he is, it's very controversial. And she said some things that definitely upset, I would say, men and women who were Black in the manosphere community. So it's pretty interesting. I got mixed feelings on it, but yeah, we got some clips for you guys. The video got pulled, obviously. Very quick. She was very quick on it. I even saw a lot. I watched part of a live stream with MTR, or Mediocre Tutorials Reviews. He was out there, and Melanie King. They were doing like live, live on. They were live in the studio this last week, and they come home and they see people reacting to the interview she did with Nick, I guess, after they had left. So they probably just getting home, and they're like, "What the fuck?" So you look like you over supporting this is we'll show the video, but it's not a good look. This is not a good look.
Let me see. I think it should be this one.
Special, and all countries have done that.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you're saying, why is the Holocaust special?
Yeah, basically.
Oh. What do you mean, basically?
Well, yeah, I mean, because of course, we're getting into the details of it, but yeah, that's the gist.
Also, just want to say, full disclosure, I've not seen any of these, so this is legit gonna be like a blind reaction for me.
Yeah, you went for a treat.
Lord, let me get my drink.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, but you kind of deny it happened.
I deny some of the parts of it.
You deny parts of it don't seem realistic to you. You think they were embellished upon.
I think they're embellished, yeah.
The same way. This sounds, oh gosh.
Oh boy.
They're gonna get trouble. This sounds similar to the slavery stuff too, because that's literally the founder of, or the guy who made Roots said, I wanted a myth for my people to live by. So they often, but that's what they do, is they embellish. And I'm not trying to say it wasn't horrible. It was.
Right.
But they want to make it more horrible so that they can control people.
So let me just see this, okay? This lady just said that about us.
You can go ahead and pause it.
Slave.
Okay. I'm still processing what the fuck she just said. So I'm gonna let you start.
Yeah, so what she said was, she's, so basically they were talking about the Holocaust, and I'm guessing they were live streaming. They talked about different controversial topics. They were talking about the Holocaust. Nick was basically saying that the Holocaust, or the mass killing of people like that, isn't something that's just specific to Jews, right? Throughout history. It's been done multiple times, right? And then she goes out of her way to bring up slavery, and specifically slavery in America, and I guess you can make the case in the Caribbean and in Brazil and so on and so forth. So on and so
it's true, yeah.
So she goes and says, you know, that she's insinuating that, you know, black people people in leadership embellish it to make it not sound as bad as it is. And when I heard that, I was like,
you mean to make it sound worse than what it actually was? But yeah, go ahead.
Yes. And when I first heard it, it made me think back to like, so you know how like with the woke movement, and I'm using the term loosely, how it got to an extent where it got like way far over, where like people were making excuses. Well, I guess we've always lived like this. People making excuses for, okay, you know, I can't get a good job because I'm black.
Yeah,
I can't do this because I'm black, right? Well, now you've seen this. Now I'm seeing the last couple of months or so. That's a year or so, I guess. Is I'm seeing this on the other end of the pendulum where it swung all the way over. Where now I'm seeing people who are almost trying to like discredit what actually happened. And here's my thing: nobody was there, but you can look at accounts of slavery in other places of the world, and you would assume that it would be generally the same. So to make it seem as if, again, she's not saying that it wasn't bad, but she's also throwing out the fact that it wasn't as bad. And I'm like, yo, sis, if you were out there for 20 hours a fucking day in Georgia, getting raped, I don't know how frequently, getting raped, not eating, catching diseases, been stripped from your home. And don't give me, and the thing is, I hate when people do the whole like, well, black people also enslaved black people. That doesn't make it right. And the fact is, shit sucked. I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I guess, what do you think about that clip?
First off, I'm going to address that last part really quickly. Whenever I hear somebody say stupid shit like, well, you know, black people, they enslave, you know, black people too. I'm like, okay, so which you do ultimately understand that what you just said was a criminal's logic, right? And I can compare, I can compare this. This is true. There was it was a trap essentially, but at the same time, it was legal. There was a car that was parked on the street, like it was in like, you know, New York somewhere, you know, like in a city somewhere, parked on the street, and it was left unlocked. So it would trap people, right? So people would get in, like, oh, it's just unlocked, and they would get in, try to steal the car or whatever, right? And then the car would stop, cops would show up and shit like that. They'd be like, and every single time the people would say, well, the car was unlocked. Just because the car was unlocked doesn't change the fact that you still committed a crime.
Yep.
So when people try to say is that, well, you know, because this other person is doing this, oh, well, it was right there. You know what I mean? Like, what, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're trying to absolve yourself of that responsibility, and it don't fucking work like that. Like, you still gonna catch these ones and twos, bro. Like, fuck is you talking about? Number two, there's a lot of misconceptions about slavery, and I will say this: the problem is that while there are misconceptions about slavery, specifically like the West African slave trade, the problem is that people are trying to, and it is true, people are trying to push a certain agenda as far as like what actually was the West African slave trade. If you were a slave owner in the South at that time, you were extremely well off. Right? Exactly. Like owning a slave was a big deal. The average person couldn't own a slave. In fact, I think, and I'm not sure I looked this up, I think it's that the average person who owned a slave usually owned at least like a dozen or more slaves at the time. It was very rare that you just had one slave. And in some cases, I mean, I'm sure it probably did happen, right? So the average person didn't own slaves. Cool, we got that. That part, right, is very true. You know what I mean? Now, on the flip side, people really underestimate the cruelty of just like human beings, like how savage human beings are in general. This has nothing to do with white. This has nothing to do with black. This is just people in general. Like, and people really forget that at one point, like one of the main reasons why like even marriage was becoming like a common practice was so that way women wouldn't get raped on a regular basis. Like when people, when you know, certain civilizations wage war against each other, the losers would become enslaved, right? They would pillage, they would plunder, they would take their women, they would rape their women, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? People really underestimate like human cruelty in general. So for this to be any different in any way, shape, or form, like you don't know what you're talking about. Slavery was horrible, right? It was horrible. Now, also being said, there were cases, for example, right? You can look this up, where slave owners, for example, couldn't control their slaves, right? And I remember I will be 100% frank with you. I learned about this from the Great Debaters movie, and I remember I fact checked and looked it up after I watched the movie. There were instances where slave masters couldn't control their slaves. They would call somebody called Willie Lynch. You ever heard of him?
Yeah, I've read the letter.
Exactly, right? It's some real shit. So Willie Lynch was a brutal, right, slave owner, right? What he would do is he would go around to plantations that couldn't control their slaves, right? He would literally take the biggest, baddest, buffest, slave, right? And he would take him and he would break him down and he would rape him in front of all of the other slaves and women and children and everything like that, to instill fear in all of them. His methods were, quite simple but effective. That's my point. And people don't understand like how bad it really was. Same thing with the Harlem. Just because people don't understand that, just because you can't fathom that level of human cruelty doesn't change the fact that it still happened.
And what's funny about what you said about Willie Lynch letter? Yeah. There's a lot of people. Again, I wasn't there, so I can't confirm it happening or not happening. But there are a lot of people who believe it's not true. And to your point, even if it's not true, you can definitely read that and understand that the thinking is definitely valid.
Yeah, it is.
And my thing is, right, anytime you watch how she mentioned Roots or anything, it's worse.
Yeah.
Because to your point, most people can't get their brains to think that sick, right? Like you ever seen Django?
Of course. Yeah.
And a lot of people, when they did the Mandingo fighting, were like just kind of like could not watch that scene. And I'm like,
why? It's what
that ain't like, yeah, it's bad, but like I'm sure there was a lot worse shit than that.
Way worse.
Like, this is a movie. This actually got approved. Mm-hmm. Like the shit that happened in the real world wouldn't get approved in a movie, probably.
There we go.
So to your point, I think you hit the nail on the head. A lot of it is like for people like Pearly and they just can't, like Nick, he can't see.
Yeah.
He can't see how bad it was. And it's not to me, it's not a race thing. It's
not
being able to you need to empathize with people are talking about. Like, why would you think this shit isn't possible? People are fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I mean,
and people don't understand. Like, they really don't understand. Like, and I'll put it to you like this, and this was not like a long time ago. When I was stationed overseas, one of my buddy's wife, she was of Middle Eastern descent. I believe she was from Dubai or something like that. Right? I can't remember right off the top of my head. I remember we were dinner and she was telling us her story. One of her friends died when she was really young, like 13 or 14. Her and her friends went to the mall. Her friend, like I said, she was of Middle Eastern descent. She went to the mall. She was holding hands with a boy, right? That's a big no-no there, right? And there, under Sharia law, they have something called mercy killings, right? So when the girl went home, everybody already heard about it. So the dad mind you, and she's like our age, like 30, 35, right? The dad heard about it, made this big, huge fuss about it, I guess, right? Got it approved and literally drove her out into the, desert and shot and killed her, right? To restore his family's honor. His own daughter, right? You see what I'm saying? Like this is not like, there are still places where you can get stoned to death for being gay.
It's facts, man. Because I remember there's a show on Netflix. I fucked the name up, so I ain't gonna try. But it was basically about these Jordanian, like these girls. They're Jordanian in the school, and the one girl, she's like really promiscuous, and her family finds out that she's like messing around with a boy, but she didn't actually do nothing. Yeah, and her brother got the privilege, got the right to go kill her. The season ended on them shooting. We don't know what happened. Obviously, I'm pretty sure he killed her.
Yeah, of course.
But I went online to go like look it up to see like, damn, is it really like that? A lot of people up in the Middle East were like, no, this is like not. So this is normal shit. Like this is not out of the ordinary. But in America, we just be like, oh my God, it's just like
I can't believe, and that's the crazy thing. We've become so civilized and so soft that we can't even imagine, like we can't fathom, right, the cruelty that goes on in the rest of the world on a daily basis. Like just because it's not happening in your backyard, sweetie, like it don't change nothing. So whenever I hear people say stupid shit like that, they've never been anywhere. I've been around the world and I've seen the atrocities that happen every fucking day. Okay, I'm talking about like real poverty. I'm not talking about like some homeless dude who's walking up on you right now because he's crazy and has like a mental, health disorder. I'm talking about like literally like families sleeping on boxes.
Yeah.
Like everywhere you fucking go.
Waters got mosquitoes and sludge from dirt. Like no landfill. They don't have landfills. They're just trash everywhere.
Yeah. So that's when people say stuff like that too. I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about. Like whatsoever. So yeah. But yeah, no, this was another great reaction video. We're gonna keep them coming out. Just make sure that you stay tuned.
Oh, you want to play the other clips?
Oh, did you want to? I just thought we just wanted to just break it up.
Oh, yeah, no, we can break them up. I mean, that's fine. They were just
similar, but it'll make the video shorter though. So people.
Yeah, that's fine. We can do them break it up. That's good. That would work.
Yeah. So thanks. Now I gotta cut this out. But yeah. Just make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and we can keep the videos coming.
Yep. Peace.